Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Horror Realm Live. This is our first ever Horror Roundtable. And let me go ahead and introduce my guests real quick. By the way, I'm Travis Bruce. If you guys don't know who I am, make sure to like and subscribe. This is an amazing fucking channel. I'm going to be doing this once a month. So, first of all, I got my guy, Brad Case, here. By the way, congratulations, guys, on winning the first annual Horror Realm Best Anthology for Scribble.
Thank you so much.
Crypt.
It's a great honor.
It's a fun movie. If you guys haven't checked it out, please get over on Amazon and check that bad boy out. So Brad, he is the director and writer. As well, I have my man Kenny Voelkel. He's an actor in the movie as well as associate producer. Guys, welcome back to the Horror Realm.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back.
Glad to be back.
This guy looks good getting his throat slit on screen.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. All right. So listen, we got a controversial topic for our first round table. And this is the best kind. All right.
Yeah.
And the question that's on the table is going to be PC culture. Yay. We love it, right?
Yeah.
But is PC culture ruining horror? Brad, I'm going to start off with you. What do you think?
PC culture and horror. Yeah, I honestly think it's ruining more than just horror. I mean, what happened to the good old days where, you could tell somebody how you truly felt and not have to worry about upsetting them. It's like you getting upset by something I say shouldn't matter. I mean, they're just words until you give them power to be something more. But as far as in film, oh yeah, it's definitely hurting horror movies because you got all these new people coming out and they're so worried about if they put a certain type of character in something that, oh, it's not going to get any views, it's going to get hated on. It's just ridiculous. Like even like when I did the Stranger, I got so much fucking slack for having a black gay lead because people are like, well, that's not very PC. I can't relate to that. I don't want my kids seeing that. And it's like, then don't fucking watch it. It wasn't made for you. It was made for a specific audience.
And my whole thing is horror has always been offensive. It's always, at the roots. It offended everybody equally. Black, white, disabled, gay, lesbian, whatever. You all got fucking offended. And that's
horror is meant to push the boundaries. It's meant to make you feel uneasy, to make you feel scared. It is meant to push those boundaries and go into another realm. It's not meant to be PC. If you want to watch something PC, go watch a fucking drama or a love story. You don't go to horror and want a PC movie. That's just not how that works.
It used to be fun, and now they're so worried about offending somebody, so they're making it a lot less gory than what it should be, or the genre of the movie. They're just making it like a standard husband and wife couple. They get murdered in the woods instead of it being a gay couple
or being a black couple or whatever. It's like they're just trying to water everything down to appease the masses. And I'm sorry, that should have no bearing on somebody's creativity. People should make what they want to make, watch what they want to make. If you don't like it, scroll on. That's all you got to do.
Exactly. Because I'm sorry, go ahead, Ken.
What's up?
No, I was gonna say I've talked to a lot of indie horror filmmakers, and a lot of them do not want to put titties in their horror movies because they're afraid that it's going to offend women. It's going to, but hasn't titties always been a part of horror movies since the beginning?
It really has. I mean, let's be honest, everybody. Tits sell. If you get a pair of tits in your movie, you damn know you're going to get views. That's the way it is. Everybody loves a good set of boobs.
Yes, and it doesn't even have to be any story behind it.
It don't even have to be good boobs.
It don't even have to be good boobs. The majority of the time in horror movies, they're not good boobs.
Most of the time, they look like mine. Did you see them? Stop laughing.
So but is that something that you guys worry about when you make a movie? Do you worry about offending someone? Do you worry about, oh my goodness, women are going to hate this? Oh my goodness, the LGBTQ are going to hate this, or any of that?
Honestly, for me, I have never worried about what somebody else is going to think. I'm going to make the movie I want to make the way I want to make it. Because at the end of the day, there's always an audience. Doesn't matter what you make, what you do, there's always an audience for what you're making. So I'm not going to subject myself to worrying about what so and so is going to worry about. Like, if they don't like the content I'm making, okay, don't watch it. This person over here will. They like this kind of content. I don't worry about offending people because it's like people are just too damn sensitive. I mean, I don't go out of my way to, offend anybody personally, but I'm going to tell the story. I want to tell the way I want to tell it. And if that offends you, that sounds like your problem, not mine.
And I agree. And one thing, so I'm not a big fan of the Terrifier movies, but I do
Yeah,
respect them. I do respect them because they are not afraid of coming off as hateful,
yeah,
misogynistic, and the crazy part about it is, uh, I've interviewed many women filmmakers, and I asked them, "Well, who's their favorite horror character?" And they all say Art the Clown, which I'm shocked because Art the Clown is a mis- misogynistic character.
yes. And it's kind of a shocking answer, really.
It is.
But Art the Clown, the thing is, Terrifier's done what horror needed. Horror needs a good resurgence where it stops worrying about offending somebody, being too gory, being too realistic. It needs to go back to the roots. Like, have you ever heard of Fred Vogel and August Underground?
Yes.
So if that guy made one of the most real graphic movies you will ever see. It you start it and it plays through just like you're watching a home video. No titles, no credits, nothing. And it's a brutal, brutal, nasty stuff though. If that guy had worried about who he was going to offend, what people were going to think, he wouldn't be where he is today. He stuck to his guns and made what he wanted, and it worked for him. He didn't care about being PC. He did what he wanted to do.
And I 100% agree. And like, I interviewed the filmmaker of he made the movie Darius, which is such an offensive movie. It's a disturbing, offensive movie. By the way, got
Yeah.
a live interview when it comes to it. But like when I interviewed him, he said he doesn't give a fuck. And I've just read that off of him. He doesn't give a fuck. And that's what makes that movie so disturbing and powerful is he doesn't give a fuck. And I think to be an artist, you have to because like one of the things I've seen in even in with when it comes to indie horror authors, they have to put trigger warnings in the description because
Right.
they're afraid that people are going to read something and get triggered. But like, isn't that something you should come into knowing if you're going to read something horror or watch something horror that it is going to be something offensive, something that's going to trigger you? It's horror. That's what it's meant. It's
Yeah. Yeah. Coming into it, when you sit down to read a horror story, you come in to sit down to watch a horror movie, you should go in knowing that this isn't going to make you feel good. It's not meant to make you feel good. It's meant to push the boundaries. It's meant to scare you. I've been doing this since 2009. Not once have I sat there and worried about what anybody else thought. I don't think I'd still be relevant today if I did. I've always lived by the method of, at the end of the day, as long as I'm happy with the project, it's a success. I hope people watch it. I hope they love it. But as long as I'm happy with the work that my crew and everybody put in, that's the ultimate goal.
yes, and I agree. And I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan. And Quentin Tarantino, I know
Oh,
that's not horror. Quentin Tarantino movies are not PC at all.
no, fuck no.
Definitely pushes the boundaries.
Pushes the boundaries, uses the N word more than any rapper does. And
Oh, yeah.
and like yeah, and like, but he makes great movies,
Yep.
and they cross the line, and it goes back to that old exploitation days.
Yep.
And like, I just feel like when I watch modern horror movies, not all of them, but there's a huge chunk they're afraid to push the boundaries, which doesn't make them scary, doesn't make them entertaining,
It makes them
and doesn't
predictable.
make them original. It makes them predictable.
Yeah. It just makes them different. It's like you can watch it and you know, all right, well, this guy's going to jump out here. Oh, this chick's going to run here. You can predict every move. There's no freaking true horror anymore. Like independent horror nowadays is where it's at. Because you got independent filmmakers that are not worried about pushing the boundaries, not worried about scaring people, doing this and doing that. When you go to like the Hollywood standards and shit, it's gone so PC that they're just afraid of their own fucking shadow, essentially. They're afraid of who are they going to offend? Are they going to get views? Is the critic going to talk shit about this? Am I going to win an
Yeah,
Oscar? Who gives a shit? Make
I have
the
a
movie you
question.
want to make.
I have a question. Where are the fat characters in horror movies?
What or what?
Where are the fat characters in horror movies? Where are the big guys, the big girls? Where are they? I don't as victims. How come we don't see them in horror movies anymore?
That's a good question. I don't know.
That's kind of a good question. It really is.
Imagine Art the Clown hanging one of them upside down and cutting her in half. You know.
I mean, imagine a chase scene. I mean, that's not going to last too long, right?
Right. That is true. That's a very true point. This guy's got an idea. We got a movie to write.
I never thought about that.
But majority of Americans are morbidly obese. Let's be honest.
I mean, look at me.
Majority of Americans. I know. We're all morbidly obese, right?
You didn't have to agree to that.
Well, listen, I'm a chunky myself, so you know what I mean.
Yeah, it looks good on you though.
Oh, thank you. Because I'm tall. Yeah, they fill us out. But but like, why is it that in horror movies, this is indie and big stream? Why
fat people aren't in movies because fat people aren't attractive and sex sells.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you look in the 80s, not all the characters were sexy.
No, they weren't. Back in the 80s, it was more realistic. You had, your realism. You had your, she might be a tall, skinny girl, but she wasn't necessarily the most attractive. She didn't have double D tits. Nowadays, everywhere you look, it's like, oh, you got to have some tall blonde with a knockout body and giant ass tits because that's what's going to sell. It's like they got away from the true reality of normal characters. Not everybody looks like a movie star.
Yes.
And it's just not realistic. I would love to see a movie about all fat people in horror. We got to write that.
It went from being realistic horror to making every excuse for Zac Efron to have his shirt off. Like
it really is. Everybody in horror, but is everybody in indie and modern? I mean, indie and big much higher. It is almost like models. Where are the disabled? I've said this in many of my interviews. Where are the disabled victims? You should see them. You should see them. The characters in the wheelchair getting the axe to the head and pushed down the stairs. Like, what happened to them?
Funny enough, bringing that up, I actually can think of 2 movies where that is a thing. I have a good buddy. His name is Mike O'Mahony. He's made 7 or 8 films. They're all in distribution. Sloppy the Psychotic, IBS, Deadly Detour, and a couple other ones. They're all available on like Amazon and stuff like that. But his first movie, Deadly Detour, there's a whole scene where this goat man killer gets on a short bus of a bunch of like handicapped people, and they're like blind, and he strangles a blind handicapped woman who's pregnant, stumps the baby out of her stomach, and then strangles her with the umbilical cord.
Holy shit.
It's fucking great. But then there's also a movie that a buddy of mine was in. I don't even know where to find it. I've never been able to find it, but it's literally called Special Dead. It's supposed to be a bunch of zombies that are obviously special.
Okay.
For lack of better words.
But listen, let's do something different. Let's bring it back to the 80s, right?
Yes.
Let's have the ugly characters. Because listen, not everybody, majority of Americans are not beautiful. Stop. Majority of Americans are either average or ugly. Plain and simple. There's only 10% of Americans that are beautiful. Everybody else is ugly or unattractive. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah. And that's something that's been brought up to me before. People like to ask, like, oh, well, how do you cast your characters? I bet you cast on looks. I'm like, no, I don't give a fuck what somebody looks like. I don't care what color, age. I don't care what they look like. All I care is that they can do the role. I don't give a shit how they look. I want to know that they can do the role and give it justice.
And that's good because I've seen some of these casting calls and, the filmmakers put, I'm looking for a woman between her 20s and 30s that's attractive. Like, what does that mean?
That is so offensive in my mind. And like, I don't get offended by much, but when you put something out like that, to me, that's terrible because now you have all these actresses that are putting themselves in a position to be like, well, am I attractive enough? I'm going to apply for this, but then if I get turned down, well, now I'm ugly. I mean, what does that do to somebody's self-confidence? Like, come on, do fucking better.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure if you've seen those casting calls, there's a lot of them, and they say attractive. But what is the definition of attractive?
Yeah,
I mean,
where is the standard there? Everybody is attracted to different things. You got some people are attracted to really big people. You got some people attracted to skinny. You got me who's attracted to midgets. Wait, what?
by the way, have there been any little people victims in horror movies?
Victim?
Yes.
Leprechaun.
Well, he wasn't a victim. He was the killer.
No, he was the killer.
Leprechaun in space. He actually dies at the end.
No, I mean an actual. I'm in an actual victim.
Actual?
An
That is a
actual
good
victim.
question. I mean, I can think of little people in horror movies, but I can't think of any that's been like a victim per se. Because there's like blood something freaks. It's a movie from back in like the 70s, whatever. And the guy's got a little black midget as his like servant. I know he gets killed towards the end, but I don't really know you would call him a victim.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't. That's a really good question. I don't think there really are. But little people are a stigma. I mean, hell, look at Hollywood. Instead of hiring little people to do fucking roles like Oompa Loompas, they're hiring full-grown fucking people and shrinking them. What kind of bullshit is that? That makes me angry. Little
Brad,
people need work too.
they really do. They really do. Now, Brad, I'm about to say something really fucked up, but I've been to ask you this question. What is up in indie horror where you're a director, you do this. But what is up with indie horror where they and this even goes back to the Friday the 13th days, where they hire 30-year-olds to play high school kids?
I don't understand that. That shit always kind of annoyed me. Once in a while, you find somebody that they can pull the role off. They can look the age, but most of the time, it's like this fucker's older than I am. They're trying to play a 20-year-old. But they probably got more fucking grays in their pubes than I do.
But anytime I watch an indie horror and it's someone in high school or college, it's like, boy, that person looks like they're 37 years old. They look like they have a mortgage. Like,
I honestly think
it,
it's a lack of young talent. I think
it's
that's all it
so.
really comes down to. It's a lack of younger talent that fit the bill. Everybody wants to know the big names. Well, the big names are older people because the big
You know,
names will bring in money.
I'm talking about in indie horror though. In indie horror, there's really
But
is
I've even seen it
rarely any
happen in
big
indie
names.
horror. People are bringing in freaking older people in indie horror now and cast them as younger roles, trying to bring it back to their prime days. And it's like, what are you doing? Like in indie horror, I mean, I don't know. I sometimes I think it's a lack of options. I think it
Think it
really
is?
is. Like I would never do that. I can't like we did we're working on a TV show called My Curse Collection. We had a scene where we needed a 16-year-old girl to play this possessed girl that walks through the woods and whatever. And I was very specific. I wanted somebody that looked 16, but they had to be minimum 18 for legal reasons. I'm not trying to get involved in all that paperwork.
Yeah.
So we found somebody who was, I believe she was 19. She might have been, but she literally looked like she was probably 13. So it worked. But that's about the boundary I stay in. A couple years difference works. I'm not going to hire a 40-year-old to play a 20-year-old. It just don't work. The wrinkles don't go away.
But that's been the what I call it is it's the indie because I don't see that in big horror movies. You know what I mean? Big budget horror movies.
No.
I see
I have
that in
one
the
example.
indie. What's the one?
Freddie Prinze Jr. and Scary Movie 1. No, Scream 1.
Freddie Prinze Jr. was in Scream
He
1.
wasn't in Scream.
Yeah, it was. Freddie Prinze Jr.
Was he in Scream?
Yeah. He played I think he was like
I think he was
32 years
in.
old, and he played an
I think
18-year-old.
I think he was in. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's what it was.
That's the movie you're thinking of. So yeah, it wasn't Scream.
Yeah, I think he was 31 or 32, and then he was playing an 18-year-old high school senior.
But Freddie Prinze
Yeah,
Jr.
that is true.
looked
He was in
young,
his 30s.
but he looked young though. I mean,
He does look
did.
young though,
He
so that
did
you
look
can kind
young.
of.
I mean, I'm not gonna do any name drops, but I mean, I've seen him. I saw a movie like recently, and like all the characters were in high school, and like the one girl was supposed to be like a 16-year-old virgin, and I was like, damn, homegirl looked like she's fucking my age. I'm 41. I'm like, damn, she's fucking 41. And I'm like, there's no who who would be like, you're doing a casting and you say, I'm looking for someone who looks like they're a high school student and a 41-year-old rolls in. There's very few women and men who at 40 some years old look like they're a teenager.
Oh yeah. I mean, shit, I'm 37 and people say I look like I'm in my 40s, bastards. Yeah, I don't understand that. A lot of times, like I said, a lot of times I think it's a lack of option thing. Or it comes down to, well, this person's got a name, we'll put them in there. They look close enough to the age. Nobody's gonna know. I don't know. It's not
It
something I
distracts
personally would do.
it
I
distracts
mean,
me as the watcher because now I'm sitting there watching like high school. This person looks like they have kids in fucking high school. Like, what the fuck?
I
Like,
can't watch that shit because I pick it all apart. I'm watching as like that person doesn't looks too old, and I'll Google like if they're like 30 playing an 8-year-old. Like it doesn't make sense. Why would you do that? I
exactly.
pick everything apart I watch. It's terrible.
And I do the same
But I do
thing.
that to my own
And
shit.
I watched a movie, and it's not even a horror movie, but it was called what the fuck was it called? Sloppy Seconds.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I
yeah,
love
you
that
heard about
movie.
that? Oh, I couldn't finish it. But like the main character was pretending like she was just getting in high school.
Speaking of
Her
special
ass
needs, the third movie in Sloppy Seconds, there's like 3 movies of them. I think it is something like that.
is there?
I believe there's a guy handicapped in the third movie.
Does he get
Well,
killed?
I think he ends up getting killed towards the end. He's actually a comedian, Josh Blue or something. I think his name is.
Okay. But you know there's one movie though that actually cast teenagers in her movie, and that was Sleepaway Camp.
Yes, yes, because they had to find a body double that was 18 to do the final scene where we reveal that she had a dick.
Yeah, they actually had teenagers,
Yep,
and I
they
think that's
actually
the
did it right.
only horror movie to actually cast actual teenagers as
Yep.
teenagers in a movie.
Yeah, that was Felicia Rose. Love her.
Yes, yes, amazing.
Yeah, that is a great movie. You ever seen that movie?
No, but you
Dude,
got,
at the end, this girl turns around and she's got a dick and she's all bloody. It's weird.
I know what I'm watching tonight.
It's one of the reasons I have trust issues. That and pink flamingos.
But one
Don't
of
even
the
get me
things,
started
okay,
on pink flamingos.
but going back to PC though, let's shoot about that. How come we don't have an issue with actresses playing teenagers and having sex scenes and showing their titties? How come as horror fans we don't have an issue with that? Because that's a little weird if you think about it.
It is extremely weird. I don't know. That's a really good one.
Like, why not just have them as college students? Why
Right,
do we even do the teenage thing in the first place at this point? Why don't
right,
we just
right.
do college students? Because it's definitely less creepy.
For sure. I don't. I mean, maybe sometimes it's probably just a matter of choice. That's the vibe they wanted to give off, even though it can be construed as bizarre and weird. But some people like to push those boundaries. Like, there was a movie I saw, for the life of me, I can't think of what it's called right now, but they had it was Thora Birch, I think is her name. She was 16. She actually did a scene where she was topless. And it was like some
Really?
art house movie or something. Her parents had to be on set, sign contracts, yada yada, whatever. And they gave her permission to do this. But it's like a real quick glimpse where like somebody's watching her through a window. She turns around and she's topless. And I always thought that was poor taste. Like, one, she's 16. That's fucking child porn.
Yeah.
Two, it's like it didn't sit well with me. But I
Yeah.
don't know. Those are some weird. Those are some of the weird decisions that I just don't understand. I think nowadays too many people are focused on the wrong things when they go to make a movie. Anyways, they're so worried about the PC that they're forgetting to actually tell a good story. They're forgetting to invent likable, lovable, and hateable characters. They're just worried about, all right, well, I can't offend this person. I can't offend this person. I can't do this because, oh, this might upset somebody. No, you need to focus on the story, the characters. Tell the story you want regardless of anything else.
Yeah.
It's just, and the whole sex thing in films nowadays, especially horror, it's just gotten out of hand in my mind. And you can't watch anything nowadays without a pair of tits popping up or a random sex scene that might not even have any meaning to the story. It
Zero.
just gets old. It's
It
like
does.
I would never throw something like that in a project unless it had served a purpose.
Yes.
I'm not going to throw a random sex scene in something unless it serves a purpose. It just doesn't make sense.
But
I will never feed for views with pointless nudity and fucking.
yes, and I agree. But you do have to admit something. I'm gonna point back what you said earlier. At least horror directors do not discriminate when it comes to titties, because they'll put some sloppy titties up there real
Oh,
quick. Like,
I've done it.
He's not lying.
really? Which one was that?
Well, I can't tell you because then I'll know who it is, and then I'll feel like a dick. No, I've done a few things that have had nudity. Honestly, Scribbles, there's some nudity in the one, but it was completely by accident. Like we were filming the scene for Born Hang, the whole zombie orgy, and she was wearing like this little bra thing, and it just kept falling down. It was never meant to be seen, but it just happened. So yeah, her titties made it in there. She was okay with it. I got the permission before. I was like, "You want me to work around this?" Or she's like, "Nah, go ahead." I was like, "Deal."
That's awesome. But listen, I don't mind titties, but I agree with you. Like, it gets to the point where it's just random flashing of titties completely out of context.
Yeah,
of
the whole
movie.
it's just getting so out of context. I just don't get it anymore.
Yeah.
I understand sex sells, but I don't sit down to watch a movie like, oh, I hope I see a pair of tits. I sit there to be impacted, to
Yes.
to laugh, to be
But listen,
scared.
with titties, but if titties come out in context, I'm like, oh, okay, that was a nice
Right.
tit scene. I mean, that's a nice little sex scene. But like, I see some horror movies that's just titties for no reason at all. It's just some woman just walking
And
down
all
the
that
street
is a marketing
and her
ploy.
groceries.
All they're doing is trying to get views because sex sells. That's all that is.
I agree. I mean, I feel like if I had some titties right now, I feel like I would have way more subscribers right now.
I mean, Kenny can take off his shirt. It might help. I mean, at least your wife will
way
watch.
more subscribers. All right, so next, well, I'm gonna jump on two. So I'm gonna piggyback off of that question. Now, a lot of movies also, especially in that 2020 to like recently, have had their own political agenda, political messages, or woke message. How do you guys feel about that in your horror movies? I
Well,
hate it.
President,
Yes.
how do you feel?
Well, I don't agree with it because like everyone has a right to their own opinion, and I know that sometimes they'll try pushing like a certain agenda, and they'll do it like subliminal message style, like, oh no, like you only want to vote for this person, or oh, only go blue, don't go red, like that kind of thing. It's kind of weird to explain, but like I've actually watched a couple movies. I can't think of one off my head, but it's like where like they'll always say the same thing over and over and over again, and then like you actually catch yourself sleeping, like, oh, is that true? And then you catch yourself down a rabbit hole, like, holy shit, that actually is true. No, I don't like that person.
Because I definitely noticed that in the last few Purge movies.
Yeah.
The
Purge was 100% politically fueled.
100%. And it was blue, 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 blue. Fuck red, 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 right? I don't care what your political beliefs are.
Yeah.
I don't care, but I do not want to watch a horror movie that is telling me a political statement. Who to fucking vote for? And
I don't give a shit what side you're on. I just want you to be a good person.
Either. But in horror movies, I don't give a fuck about politics in horror movies.
No.
I want to see a good story and I want to see some murders. That's what I want to see. I want to see a great villain. I want to see a great villain that I can connect with and hate at the same time.
Exactly. I like the ones where you can really connect with the villains but at the same time you hate them. Like those are the ones I
Exactly.
enjoy. Where it's like you have sympathy for them, like you understand, but at the same time you're like, fuck, this guy's a monster. What is going on? Those
Yes.
are the ones I really like.
I didn't feel that way until I saw Saw X. All the other Saw movies, I was like, man, that guy's an evil motherfucker. I mean, and then you watch Saw X, it's like, oh, he was doing it for a reason. Like, it all makes sense now.
Well, yes, I agree. I agree. But he's still an evil motherfucker because Saw X, those people deserved it. And a couple of those Saw people deserve it. But you got like I stopped watching Saw movies after part 4, I want to say. And then I picked it back up with Spiral, which I didn't like.
Spiral was dog shit. I'm sorry. I didn't enjoy
It was
that.
horrible. It was horrible. I picked
Chris
it back
Rock,
up
you
with
fucked
Spiral.
that all up.
Fucked that up completely.
All right.
And then
No, Saw's a good movie, but it's one of those movies like it's gone on too long. Just stop.
yes, yes. And I think this is a great way to end the series. I mean, this is probably if it's probably the second best Saw movie, I would say.
Yeah, it's definitely up there in my opinion as far as good ones. It's definitely towards the top. But the problem is, but the reason they keep making them is because people keep watching them, which is another reason horror is just needs a resurgence because there's no more originality. Everybody is just regurgitating the same shit over and over again, or they're making remakes or whatever. It's like there's just no originality anymore. It's like, oh, I'll just make a remake or I'll just make a sequel to this because it's already got a story. Throw a couple new creative kills in, a couple boobs, we're golden.
Yep.
I hate it. I really think independent horror needs to get a good uplifting and get out there more because you got some great people out here making some great stuff, original stuff that's actually being made with heart, soul, and passion.
But do you think that they're getting bogged down though with the people who fuck it, this is Horror Room Live. I can say whatever I want to say. Who make a bunch of shitty movies because you got to realize the indie scene is getting bogged down with
It is.
yes, with people who are not even horror fans. A people who are not filmmakers. B and people C who are just out to grab a fucking cash grab. I don't know how much fucking cash you're getting. You're making a shitty movie, but like I just feel like there's so many of them. There's so many of them, and like it's the good stuff is getting mixed in with them.
Yeah, I struggle a lot with like I try not to go out and watch a whole lot of the like independent films that are recommended to me because I'll get shit recommended to me that I think is just like dog shit. Like everybody told me you got to watch the Velocipaster. I'm sorry. I watched the trailer. I was like, this is the most dog shit piece of shit I've ever seen.
I love that.
Why did this get made? Why does it have a following? Why does this have distribution? I don't get it. But that's the problem. Like anymore, you can get anything made and put out there just be if you have something attached to it, whether it be a name or you just have a lot of money to throw away. But then, good films will go under the radar and be ignored while the fucking Velocipaster is being blown up and getting a sequel. I don't get it.
Or for the movie Sharknado,
God damn it.
You get a sequel, a third one, a fourth one.
It just keeps going on and on and on. Peter
And
Anthony,
it has
thanks for coming in, man. Yes, I agree.
I can't deal with all the shit horror movies that have been coming out lately. My problem is the people that are getting stuff that's being released, put out there. I don't think they've earned it. So a lot of them, in my mind, they're making shit movie after shit movie. They're not putting any real work into it, any real life. There's no heart and soul. They're just putting a movie out there that has an audience, but it's a piece of shit.
And
What happened to the true storytelling, the true art of filmmaking?
I 100% agree. And I just had a recent interview with the director. He did a movie called Evil Alert, so it's on streaming on TV. And I was saying to him, I was like, I think most filmmakers, I don't think I know this. There's a lot of indie horror filmmakers that are not horror fans. Horror movies are easy to make, right?
Yes.
Indie horror movies are easy to make. and
All right.
I call it the Kid Rock, um, the Kid Rock syndrome. So Kid Rock, as you know, he started off
Mhm.
as a rapper. Kid Rock started off as a rapper, and because that was hot, and then he
Right.
started doing rock. But that's not who he really was. He wanted to get famous. He wanted to do shit in his
Yeah.
eyes to get to what he really wants to do, and that's honky tonk redneck country music, right?
Right. That is
And
a
you,
good way
you,
to put it. That's a perfect
and
example.
you start to see that with Post Malone as well. Post
Yes.
Malone did rap to get to alternative. He did not want to do rap, but
Yep.
rap was the way to get him a door. I feel the same way with indie horror. I feel like there's a lot of individuals who want to make romantic comedies or thrillers or action movies,
Yep.
but putting out a couple shitty indie horror movies is the way for them to get started.
It's their golden ticket to get into it. Peter
Yes,
Jackson did that. I mean, you look at
yes,
him. He started making Bad Taste, which was a shitty alien movie that he made over the course of like 5 years. Then he did Meet the Feebles, Brain Dead, and all that shit. Now look at him. He's doing fucking The Lord of the Rings. He
and
got to start making shit horror movies because they were easy.
yes,
But
and I
that's the
think
thing to
that's
me. It's like I didn't get into horror because it was easy. I got into horror because that's what I loved. I fell in love with movies when I saw Frankenstein the first time with my dad. And that, even though that's not really a horror per se, it scared me as a child. And it just made me think, wow, I want to do that. I think that's really cool. And through there, I started discovering everything else, the Texas Chainsaw and stuff like that. But I've always been a horror fan, and I will. There for a while, I thought I was going to leave horror for a little bit, to be honest. I was getting kind of desensitized with the whole genre and just everything going on. I didn't want to get lumped into that category of, oh, this guy, all he does is make horror, hey, whatever. I wanted to branch off and do more, which is what happened when I did like The Stranger. It was a dark drama, no horror elements. And then I kind of got roped back into horror because that's how it always happens. Horror is where I am. It's what I love. It's what I'm going to continue to do.
now, do you feel like in order to be a great horror filmmaker, do you feel like you have to be a fan of horror, correct?
I think if you are not a fan of the genre, stay the fuck out of it. I think it's just disrespect. Like me, I'm not a fan of romance movies. You're not going to see me make a fucking romance movie.
Yet.
Yeah.
Kenny in 2 cups.
If someone offers you enough money, you would.
I don't know. I mean, it would depend on the circumstances. I mean, if they let me do it with like a guy and a corpse, I'm all for it. I mean, that's a great love story.
We've seen that.
Like Boxing Helena. That is a great love story. This fucking dude, he cuts off her arms and everything, and she eventually becomes a head, and it's his girlfriend or something. It's great.
But that's what I listen. Who am I? I don't know when I've never made a movie, but I just feel like when I watch as a watcher and as a fan, when I
Right.
watch certain indie horror movies, I'm like, this person is not a horror movie fan. I just can sense it. I can just watch it like this person's never watched a horror movie in their life.
You can
This
tell
person,
when you watch something if the person that made, if they are a horror fan.
yes.
100%, you can tell.
I don't care how much of a budget they have. I don't care if it's a first time, second time, whatever movie. I can literally watch a horror movie and be like, this person is not a horror fan. They're making this to Kid Rocket.
Yep. That is a great way to put that. I really I like the way you explain that. It makes a lot of sense, and I really like that. I'm gonna fucking steal that.
Kid
Like
Rocket.
sometimes you can actually
That's what it's called.
tell the person who's a fan because like you can sense the passion of like the acting and everything, like the directing style. Like you can tell that, oh my god, this guy gets it. Like
Yes.
this will scare people. And plus, let's put some tits. Where's my screen at? Let's put some tits right here. That way we can attract more audience. Let's put Zac Efron right about there.
Let's put Zach Baggins fighting a ghost with no shirt on. Fuck.
Sex sells.
Because I'm trying to think of his name right now. David Gordon Green. Is that right?
David,
the
what?
guy who David Gordon Green, the guy who did the remake of the last trilogy of Halloween, and he just
Oh yeah,
made
yeah,
the
yeah,
new
yeah.
Exorcist. David Gordon Green is not a horror fan.
No, he is not. You can tell.
David Gordon Green is, and I sensed it in the Halloween trilogy, but then when I watched that new fucking Exorcist, I was like, this motherfucker is not a horror fan.
The new Exorcist was good, but it wasn't what it could have been. It had potential, in my mind.
But how can I don't know? Okay, this fuck. I'm gonna say a spoiler. How the fuck can you have an Exorcist movie and talk bad about religion? I mean, isn't
That was where he fucked up. That was see, that's the thing. Like, it had great potential. Like, the little girls, they were great actresses. It was terrifying. That was good. But the bad talking on the religion, it's like you're kind of getting away from exorcism. Like, you can't really do that. You could tell that guy had probably never seen The Exorcist other than when he was doing research to make this fucking shitty movie.
But he was trying to push his, once again, going back to political agenda. Religion is bad.
Yep. Yeah, that's all he was doing. He was pushing an agenda and did it with a movie that had some pluses. The idea was there. It just wasn't the best execution. He could have done so much different.
But yeah, I watched it and I was like, has he ever seen an Exorcist movie before? I was like, did he ever see the original?
I don't think he's ever seen an Exorcist movie. I think he literally was like, no, hey, I'm going to make this movie where I can dog shit on religion, and I'm going to put these two little scary girls here. I'm going to get these people from this other movie. That way they can say it was attached to this. And yeah, we'll just see where it goes from there.
I'm going to advertise that we're going to have a couple of the original cast members in there. Get a whole bunch of people to watch it so they all catch on to my agenda.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what he did with the Halloween trilogies. By the way,
yeah.
I love the first one. I love the
first one's phenomenal.
First one was great.
The third one is absolute dog shit. I fucking hate them so much.
But the second and the third one, it's in your face, talking about mob mentality and mental illness in this country. It was just boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, this is a Halloween movie, motherfucker. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's like, we don't care about the mental health. We want to see Michael Myers walk around and fucking kill some babysitters.
I don't care about mob mentality.
No.
It's Halloween, motherfucker. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, he totally screwed that up. Like I said, the first one, he fucking killed it. Like, he did great. I was like, wow, this might actually do good.
It should have ended right there, to be honest. It should have just ended, boom, one off.
You should have never done the others.
Yes.
Because by the third one, I was so goddamn mad. I was like, dude, if I knew this guy, I'd punch him in the mouth.
I mean, the whole time.
It's like when Rob Zombie redid Halloween, everybody hated him. They said it was dog shit. In all reality, his remakes were dog shit. But in my mind, he's a true horror fan that stuck to his guns and made the movie he wanted to see, regardless of what anybody thought.
Yes. And there was no
political
that's what it
message. Takes sometimes.
And there was no political message. It was that white trash Rob Zombie horror film. That's what you.
Yeah, he did the movie he's known for.
Yeah, that's
he's
what
known
he's known
for. The white trash, ridiculous movies. That's what he makes.
And that's what he makes. I mean, so you got to respect that. But
you can hate it, but you have to respect the honesty to what he's doing. He stuck to his gun. He did what he wanted to do.
Yes, David Gordon Green. I don't know what the fuck he was doing because I know.
I think he knew. I think he was like this the whole time.
Because I know that this was going on. That movie was made and released during the whole Trump era and tiki torches in Virginia or wherever the fuck it was and all that. So it was like mob mentality, mob mentality, mob mentality. Evil must die. Evil must die. Evil must die. And like it was just over and over and over. And even like Halloween Ends like bounces off of that. And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching? This is not a Halloween movie.
No, I wish people could leave the politics and shit out of horror. I mean, if you want to put, a little subsection about politics, whatever, sure. But making these movies where you're just constantly pushing that narrative, it's getting really old. And it's not fucking working for true horror fans. Anybody who likes that trash is not a true horror fan.
And that's what killed me. So, by the way, Candyman is one of my favorite horror movie characters.
I love Candyman.
But that fucking whatever that thing that came out in 2020 it was once again, it was a piece of garbage. I did not like it. It was message over message over message over message.
It had a very big Black Lives Matter message, which is not a bad
Yes.
thing, but it's like, dude, you're overselling it with the message.
It's just it was over, and this is coming from Black Eye. It was just like I did not come to fucking see this. I came to fucking see Candyman. Someone saying Candyman and him fucking rip him apart with his fucking hook. That's
Yeah,
what
it
I
was like
came
you're
here.
watching Candyman go to a fucking Black Lives Matter rally through the whole thing. It was so,
Yes,
it was just so off-putting.
it was too much. It was too much, and I was like,
It
boy, I'm
didn't
not gonna
have
say
the
it's
same message as the first one. The first one, like when
no.
I was a kid, I'd be brushing my teeth and be like, my sister would shut the lights off and yell, Candyman, 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 and then run. It's like this one, I was like, the fuck am I watching?
Yeah, it
Only
wasn't a
cool
horror
part
movie,
about that movie is seeing Tony Todd at the end back in the makeup. This is the only cool part about the movie. Getting to see Tony Todd back in that outfit.
but that was like 10 seconds ago.
I know, but it was still cool to see.
It's all the budget they had was 10 seconds worth. So.
because like the original Candyman scared the shit out of me. That was the first movie
Oh,
that really scared the shit out of me.
me
And
too.
it was from the scene. 'Cause I was a kid. It was from that scene. Do you remember there was a little boy in the bathroom and Candyman cut his fucking dick off? Like
Yeah.
that fucking scared the shit out of me. I remember I would go into the bathroom and like be rushing to pee. I'm like, oh my god, I don't want Candyman to cut my fucking dick off. Like it was that fucking terrified me.
Oh, yeah.
I used to pee sitting down just so that wouldn't happen.
You still
Yeah,
do.
I mean, that scared. I'm about to say that scared every little boy in the early '90s. That fucking scene where he cut the little boy's dick off, like that.
Oh, yeah.
Every little boy was afraid that Candyman was gonna come and cut their junk off in the bathroom.
See, that's the thing. Back in the 70s, 80s, they did it right. It was scary. And I think that's a lot of thing a lot of newer movies are forgetting. It's not always about the gore aspect. Like, look at the original Halloween and stuff. Most of it was fucking shadows and figures. You didn't always have to see the knife going in. You didn't have to see the gory fucking re. Sometimes you can do it with all the implying, the music. To me, that's always scarier than, watching a knife be plunged into somebody's chest and seeing all the visceral gore. It's the interpretation. It's the watching the shadow as it's happening with that creepy sound. Horror movies have just lost their true magic when it comes to that kind of stuff.
I agree. Okay, I'm gonna shoot over to the comments real quick. And Peter Anthony Productions Inc. says, "What's up, Travis? Nice to meet you and Brad and Kenny. Best of luck with your projects." And Peter also say exactly, storytelling is dead. Hence why indie horror and film are thriving. I see it as an advantage for us who invest in characters and storylines. Peter, thanks for the comment, and I totally agree.
Exactly. I agree 100%, man. True storytelling, especially in horror, is just dead right now. I mean, you got
There's no
people that will
character
make a movie about
development.
anything. It's just being regurgitated. It's just getting old. We need
And
originality back.
I say this as a watcher, character development, even in indie horror, is so fucking important because you guys don't have a big budget. You know what I mean? There's already not a big budget, so you have to have something that draws us in and keep our attention from the beginning to end. So if we're not invested as watchers into the characters, and you have a low budget with low quality, we're gonna be in it 10 seconds and beat the fuck out.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the big thing. Like you said, at this level, you don't have a lot of things to work with. You kind of low budget work with what you got. Like with Scribbles, we shot that movie over the course of about 2 months because we all work full-time jobs. We got wives, we got kids. We would love this to be our full-time gig, but Hollywood's not knocking on that fucking door or anything. So no, we would shoot a weekend, edit, get stuff ready for the next shoot a weekend, edit, get stuff for the next shoot. That's why it took us so long. But it also worked out better that way because it allowed us to really focus on character development. We would shoot a weekend, we'd be able to watch everything we did, put it together, like, all right, this really worked, but we need to tweak it a little bit for next weekend and change this up. Because, this character is lacking a little bit here. We need to make it more powerful here. So it worked out on our end the way we shot it. And in the end, I mean, talk about low budget, I think we spent maybe $2,000 shooting that entire movie.
Wow.
Which is like ridiculous. That's not a lot of money when you look at the grand scheme of people spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on shit.
Yeah.
And at the same time, back to the whole PC culture, you know, like not worrying about who you would offend or anything. Like he filmed a movie that he wanted to make, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Don't care about like if you're gonna get offended by it, don't watch it.
But was there at any point though? Listen, there's some fucking disturbing shit in your movie. By the way, some really disturbing shit. Was there any point though where you're like, "Fuck, this is too much"?
For me, no. I mean, not really. So it's like, I wrote the first short film, Pavor Nocturnus, was something that was actually written for a book. And I had released the book on Amazon. The book kind of went under the radar, yada, yada, whatever. And I decided I wanted to do an old school audio recording of the story with sounds and stuff. So we had actually recorded that and filmed that film like a year prior. And it got a lot of attention. Like, oh, this is kind of an interesting way of telling a story. It's new, it's fresh. So that's what we decided. Well, that was easy. Let's fucking do 3 more and make it into an anthology. And at the time, I picked out the stories I wanted to do. I had them all written, and I sent them to Brian and a couple of the other people we're working with. I was like, what do you guys think? Is this too much? Is this just enough? There were some crickets at first for some of the like corpse fucking stuff. Like, that's a little, raunchy. But I was like, but it's horror. It's like, it's meant to make you feel uneasy. It's meant to leave you scared and mortified. It's like, I'm not trying to make a pretty happy-go-lucky movie here. So the only time I ever really got to a point where I was like, is this too much, was during the sex scene in Inamorata, the second short film. There's a sex scene at the end where Ed is having sex with the corpse. While we were filming that, I'm watching this go down. I'm directing and doing my thing. We got done. We're watching some of the shots, and I'm like, did we go too far with this? I'm not really sure. And everyone's kind of looking at me. It's like, I mean, it's your call. What do you think? I was like, fuck it. We're gonna do it live and see what happens. But in all, no, I didn't really. I knew it was what I wanted to make in my heart. Like, I knew this is the stories I wanted to tell. I thought they were good stories. I thought they were fresh. And the way we were going to do it, I thought it was a good, interesting take that hadn't really been done before. I can't think of a whole lot of films out there that play out like Scribbles do, where it's like you're watching a book being read, but at the same time, the movie you're watching doesn't exactly mimic the story. So it kind of contradicts each other. So it's like a nightmare in a nightmare.
Yes.
I agree. There is one part that I thought that it could have been over the top, only because I didn't tell my wife about it. At the beginning of Scribble, there's an infomercial for Afterlife Motion Lotion.
Yes.
I'm Necro Larry. Our movie is playing at a movie theater, and I'm sitting next to my wife. I go hide and sit next to Brad because my wife didn't know anything about it. That was an interesting drive home.
She was very quiet.
I was like, man, my wife, she's very quiet, and here I am selling lotion to fuck dead bodies,
Yeah, that was awkward because he's sitting next to me, and I'm like, we hear his wife in the back go, what the fuck? I'm like, you didn't tell your wife, did you? He's like, nope. And I'm like, fuck, we're in trouble.
Because if I see, and maybe this is why I probably couldn't be a movie maker, because I have something will go off my brain like, damn, fucking a corpse, isn't that too much? I would start second guessing myself, and it's because we are in that PC culture where people are easily triggered, and
Right.
and like, and my brain, just from work wise, is to respect people's triggers and PC and yada yada
Right.
yada. That's a society that we're in now, and I respect any fucking filmmaker, author, whatever the musician, whatever the fuck you do, that doesn't give a fuck and is willing to walk that fucking line, even if you might get some shit from it.
You see, as a filmmaker, I want to push boundaries. I want to go above and beyond and really push those boundaries. But there are things I would never do. Like, For instance, disturbing film, great fucking movie,
Oh yeah.
dark and disturbed as fuck.
Mhm.
I would never make something involving a child like that.
Yeah.
That's just like that's an absolute no. So there are definitely limits I have. When it comes to like, necrophilia and stuff, yes, it is a very dark topic, but it's a very real topic. It's something that makes people cringe, it makes them disgusted. But that's the point.
It makes them hard.
Yes. Wait, what?
I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Like just out of me, fucking snowball.
All
But
right.
yeah, no, so there's definitely things I would never touch. Like, let's be honest, everybody has their boundaries, they have their limits. Everybody has a PC to a point. Like in general, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm gonna do what I want, say what I want, make what I want. But there are still things I wouldn't do, things that I wouldn't get involved in. And it's not necessarily because I'm worried about what other people are gonna think. It's just because it's more of that's not my thing. If that's what you want to do, more power to you. It's not my thing.
But listen, Brad, you got to put some big people in your next film.
I got what?
Put some big
You
people.
got to put some big people in your next film, man.
I'm hoping to get some big deal next. I know Brian and I have been talking. He wants to do a sequel for Scribbles, and I'm all
Nice.
for it, but it's got to be the right time. And if I do it, I want to do it different this time. Instead of us doing the whole thing, I want to try and see if we can get 6 different filmmakers to all do their own story based
Nice.
around the same narrative that we did, the whole
Mhm.
audiobook thing. And then they would send them to us. So we would do one, 5 other people would do their own, and then we would bring Ashley back, do our intro stuff. I would love to get some big names in there. I have tried, but
Oh no. I mean plus size
money
people.
talks.
No. I'm talking about big people.
Oh, big people. Yeah, I'll definitely get some fat people in there.
See,
We need some fat people.
Brad, we can't say fat anymore. Fat is offensive.
Call it what it is. I'm fucking fat. God damn it. I know I'm fat or morbidly obese.
We can't say fat anymore. We got to say plus size or morbidly obese. That's where we got.
I thought it was pleasantly plump.
He identifies himself as thin, though, so it's okay.
Yes, I do.
Now, how are you going to put that in your casting call, Brad?
If I was looking for somebody who was bigger?
Yes.
Oh, God. I don't know. How would you really word that? I guess I would put...
Especially if it's a woman. What would you put? How would that casting call sound?
That would be a hard one because I'm very big on trying to make sure that women are always comfortable on set. Like, it's one of my rules. Like, anytime on set, if I have a woman who's going to be on set, it's going to be on any sort of almost naked, whatever the case may be. I always have another woman there as a PA or something for their comfort. Yeah. I'm always very big on making sure my people are comfortable and safe. So that would be a hard to word. I don't know how I would word that. I almost think I would just put out a cast call saying I'm looking for somebody to do this role and then just sift through and hope I find somebody that fits the bill. Because it's like, I don't know how you would word that and not sound like a jackass.
Yeah, we need somebody about 250, 260.
I need a girl named Bertha. Tammy Lynn, we'll get her. Trail Trash Tammy.
Because I feel like that could be some good kill scenes coming from that. You know what I mean? Some great kill scenes that can come from that.
There's a lot of shit to pull out of a big body.
Some great kill scenes to come out from that. Imagine, listen, they're running in the woods. You know what I mean? Like, that's great. That's real life.
They're running through the woods. They're about to have a heart attack. They friggin' pull out a donut because they're hungry. Their sugar's low.
Imagine they have a fucking heart attack while they're fucking running from the killer.
And then the killer walks up and kicks him like, come on, wake up. I wanted to kill you.
Like, what the fuck?
That would be cool. We need to get some fat people in.
Fat person running full speed, but Michael Myers walking still somehow catches up.
Yes.
Every time.
They don't trip or anything. He still catches them.
Yes, we're going to have to get some big people.
I say we do
I
it.
do have one person in mind. I'm not going to say a name out of respect. Somebody that has reached out to me recently that wants to work with me. I just got to find the right gig. But I will say they are bigger.
Okay.
And they cross up a couple other PC boxes that I like to play with just because I like characters that piss people off, push the boundaries. So, like, when I did The Stranger, I had a black girl who was playing a gay person. That obviously set off a lot of fucking people getting pissed off because it's like, oh, she's black and she's gay. Well, that's it's like, get fucked. I don't care about your opinion. Just like I did in Scribbles. I got a lot of shit about who the fuck was it? Somebody was giving me shit about some of my casting choices because I chose the third short film, Born Hanged. It's narrated by my friend Yannicka, who's actually a death metal vocalist out of the Netherlands. People gave me shit because like, oh, you should have used an American actress. It's like, why? What's wrong with her? You guys got something against the fucking Netherlands?
What does it matter?
It just goes like that whole thing. It's like, why does everybody have to nitpick about stupid things? I just don't get it. I'm going to use who I want to use, and if you don't like it, don't fucking watch it.
Exactly. I'm gonna tell you somebody else who I want to see as a victim. I don't think I've ever seen them as a victim. A Middle Eastern person. Has a Middle Eastern person ever been a victim in a horror movie?
Middle Eastern person victim in a horror movie. I gotta imagine there's something. I mean, I follow a lot of those Facebook film groups, and there is nothing but Middle Eastern people in there putting messages out there saying, "What's at me? I have a film to sell for $100,000. Sign the check to me." And it's like, what are you fucking doing, you idiot?
Well, maybe in a middle.
Question: you ever seen a Middle Eastern person dying in the horror movie?
A M. Night Shyamalan movie called Devil, I think, when they're in the elevator. I think one of those guys was Middle Eastern.
Yeah, I think one of them was in Devil in the elevator.
I've never seen that one.
It's pretty good. It's all bunch of people get stuck in an elevator. One of them's the devil, and they all start slowly dying one by one with like terrible visions and shit. It's pretty damn good.
Okay.
It's a different type of horror movie.
I just don't want us, to discriminate against people when it comes to victims. Like, I feel like everybody should have their place as being a victim.
Oh, I agree. There's a lot
Every
of
race,
discrimination.
gender, orientation, everybody should have their representation as a victim.
Let's be honest. America still is and probably always will be a very racist and homophobic country.
100%.
Let's just put it out there. It's 100% the way it is.
Still is, yes.
And that fact is so dark, a cop almost shot it.
Yes.
Like, that's just facts. That's the way it is. What?
That was cringing.
It's the fucking truth.
No, but
only thing America deserves is a gold medal in fucking mass shootings. This country
I agree.
is just so fucking over the top, PC, racist, homophobic. It's like you can't do anything and be your true self without it upsetting somebody else.
But why can't we just make humor of it? Like, but even like when you watch comedy now, watch a good comedy movie, comedies are not even funny anymore because of PC. They don't want to offend anyone, and it's like, come on now.
Well, even being filmmakers, the whole thing about being PC, me and him can be two white filmmakers, and we can have two black people in one of our movies. They die all of a sudden. Oh, you guys are racist because you killed the black guys in a movie. Or like you kill females. Oh, you're sexist. You only kill the females in the movie.
Yeah, why does the black person always die first?
I don't know why. But have you noticed if you watch any John Wick movie or any action movie, John Wick never kills a black guy. Have you noticed that? Watch any action movie. I mean, like, it could be a white guy, it could be a Middle Eastern guy, it could be an Asian guy, and he'll kill them in some of the most graphic ways possible, right?
Yeah.
Watch any action movie. If there's a black villain or henchman or something, it's a kill, but it's off camera. And what started that was Resident Evil 5. I don't know if you remember Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, I've seen that
years ago. And it was Chris Renfield. He was in Africa. He was in a country in Africa. And of course, the zombies were black. And a huge stink came out. By the way, I love that game. It was a huge stink about that game because it was a white man shooting black people,
Right.
And ever since then, if you watch action movies, you do not see if there's a black guy and who's a bad guy or somewhere in there. They will watch any John Wick movie. If he's about to kill a black guy, is off camera. Any other race of
Huh.
guy, he'll beat their fucking brains out or cut their dick off or whatever.
Right.
Pretty interesting.
That
I
is
don't
kind
know.
of interesting. I'm gonna have to look into that because that
Watch
is
it.
kind of interesting.
Watch it. Because I was like, wow, like that's fucking weird. Like,
Again, that just goes back to the whole fucking. It's just too much PC.
it's
Too many
weird.
people worried.
I mean, why can't the black guy who's a villain, he's a bad guy, why can't he die in a gruesome way?
Yeah, it's like why can't they die on screen out of respect like the rest of us? That's kind of
It's
fucked
weird.
up.
It's weird.
I have to watch John Wick now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now I'm curious.
Watch the movies.
I guess I've never paid that much attention to that.
Pay attention. John Wick does not kill a black guy in a gruesome way on camera. Not one of his movies. And so I'm surprised no one has said something about Common. He doesn't kill Common.
Right.
He does not kill Common.
Or if they're worried about a fucking riot or something.
I don't know.
It's
I
just
have no
dumb.
idea because I mean, in John Wick 3, he spent majority of the movie killing nothing but Middle Eastern people. You know.
Yeah.
In the last
That's
one, he's
true.
killed nothing but Asian people. But you know, it is what it is. All right, listen, Brad, Kenny, where can everyone find you guys?
You're on Instagram now.
Oh, Instagram. We have TikTok. I know he has YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Yep, he only does Instagram. I have, the YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and all that. He has YouTube as well. All mine is Brad Case 232801. That's my Instagram. My Facebook, just type in Brad Case, I'll pop up. My YouTube, Brad Case 2161, something like that. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it is. Yeah, I'm all around everywhere. You can find me. The TikTok, it's the_stranger_2002.
And Instagram, mine is just Kenny Voelkel. And then on YouTube, just type in Kenny Voelkel.
Sweet. Guys, thanks for coming back on the hard run. By the way, everybody go and check out the best anthology of 2023, which is Scribble.
Yes, it is available on Amazon. It's available on DVD and Blu-ray now. It's also available on Gumroad. And yeah, that's where you can purchase it right now. And we actually are in the works of potential distribution deals to get it in places that we can't do ourselves. So hopefully maybe some bigger release is coming.
Nice. And I look forward to a possible sequel.
That's the hopes. We're kind of playing it by ear. Like I said, I want to do it, but I want to make sure there's an audience for it and that there's a need for it before I spend my time to do it.
Okay.
So far, it's got great reviews. We've won a couple festivals,
yes.
But it's still early. It's only been officially released since October, and we're still working hard on getting the deal to try and get it out there more. So it's all a waiting game. Hopefully, it works out, and it will in the long run.
Well, keep up the good work, guys. And by the way,
appreciate it.
The door is always open to come on into the rim.
We will always be back. Also, we want to let everybody know that we have a couple music videos that will be coming out. We have one for Doom Candy, which is fronted by Jeffrey Nothing of Ex Mushroomhead. And we just started working with a band called Curb Stop the Predator. The entire band is themed around the eradication of pedophiles, sexual abusers, rapists, and all that. That is their message. That is what they put out. We just released the teaser for the music video, and that video is going to be coming very, very soon. You get to watch this guy get waterboarded, choked, and all sorts of fucked up. We almost killed his ass because he forgot his safe word.
What would you say for it, Kenny?
Pineapple.
He wasn't smart enough to pick a shorter word. It's funny, too, because even on set, we hear my PA in the background. I'm like, wow, he's turning red. This looks great. I was like, yeah, it looks good. Well, that's because he was fucking choking and wasn't able to speak. But he's okay. I gave him mouth to mouth, and he's fine.
Poor Kenny. He gets abused. I mean,
he comes back for it.
He does. He loves it.
Always come back.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming on. Everybody, thank you for watching the Horror Room live. Definitely check in on Saturday. I will have the guy behind Darius himself, Gorilla Metropolitana. And we're going to do an uncut, crazy ass interview. So definitely check it out. Also, hit that like and the subscribe button. All right, guys. Well, have a good night. I'll see you next
You
time.
too, man. Take care. We'll be back.